Please join us in welcoming Senior Vice President at Expedia Group Media Solutions, Rob Torres, Chief Operating Officer at Jumeirah Group, Thomas B. Meier, and CEO of Moroccan National Tourism Office, Adel El Fakir, in conversation with Skift founder and CEO, Rafat Ali.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm back on stage. This is our first panel of the day, and I'm really, really excited to have three great guests. I know you thought this was going to be a super panel on travel, but it's really a discussion about Morocco's chances for tonight. That's why we have Adel. That's Asma as well. So as you can see, he's wearing the T-shirt. I asked him; he needs to give me.
I got it. The real
T-shirt.
one, the official one.
You have
one for you.
So I don't know if all of you know this, but my connection to Morocco is that my son we adopted from Morocco, so I'm sort of a half Moroccan family as well. So inshallah we'll win tonight. So let's actually start with that, Adel. Why not? I mean, this is what the volcano did for Iceland, which is put it on the map in 2010, a volcano which we still can't pronounce, and just made people aware of the world. This is obviously even a more hopeful version of it, which is to put Morocco, not that Morocco was an unknown destination at all. It's a very known destination. People have a lot of love for the country all around the world. And so as you're thinking about it, as the head of tourism for the country's tourism board, your whole life has changed.
Complete different story from last days. It's incredible what's happening, and first at the level of the citizens, of people of Morocco, it's just crazy what's happening. On the business side, what we're looking at the data from Saturday night from the match with Portugal, crazy numbers. I mean, I can even on
this
Google
is interest in the country,
on our partners also on the search, even the bookings. I mean, it's crazy what's happening. But you said it. The equity was already there. This is the country that is on the map, first country in Africa. But the beauty of what's happening now is that there is a spontaneous awareness that is sparkling with the right values, the values that has this team and the fans around the team that are portraying. And this is what's fantastic from our side, because this is what Morocco is about. This is what the story we're telling in our branding of the destination, and it's told in a different way with different tools, but very genuinely. I think this is unbelievable. I think we can't imagine a better use of this fantastic asset football for our destination.
Well, the one downside is we're having some trouble.
Sorry.
Okay. The one downside is going to be now they're going to charge you a lot of money to put them in the ads, because now they're well-known players.
You're right.
So,
it happens that we're partnered for the last years, so it's good. We had a good connection.
So we're going to dig a little more later into the strategy as well. But I want to ask Rob. Rob, obviously, so you I've known for many years. Now had Expedia Media Solutions as part of Expedia. You very recently came back to Expedia. You were at Google for many years, heading the giant, according to our estimates. You don't disclose this. I think it was 12 billion or 14 billion advertising business. This is the money that travel industry spends on Google. You will never confirm or deny it. Now you're not there anymore. But you were heading this giant advertising engine at Google, and recently came back to Expedia. You used to be at Expedia before as well. And you have access to a lot of data that you had at Google, obviously, but now you also have a lot of access to data closer to the funnel, closer to the actual transaction at Expedia, which is what you use to build this, to continue to build the advertising business that you have. That's the business you're heading now. I know you have a slide and you have some data points that you want to talk about in terms of what you're seeing in terms of traveler intent. So can we show that slide? And Rob, if you want to talk through that a little bit as well.
Sure. Do we have a slide? I don't know. I didn't know how to slide. But first of all, thank you for having me here. But I don't think when you invited me to come here, I was very excited because it wasn't that long ago that I joined you for your first in Singapore, which was the first APAC, and I think in Berlin for the first EMEA. And so it's great to be here for the first.
And you probably flew the furthest. You came from Seattle.
And probably came from the farthest Seattle. And yes, I did spend a lot of time at Google, and there was a lot of data there. But as I was telling him earlier, Google has a ton of data, but they don't have a lot of deep in the funnel transaction data, which is what Expedia Group has in spades. So that really helps us understand a little bit about the customer and where they're going, and it really helps us put together that meeting.
Are we able to hear the voice? I'm having some trouble. There's some issues with the sound volume. And we also have the noise in the back that's coming from the... Sorry about that, folks.
That's all right.
Brian, do you want to go to handheld, or do you want to just continue with this? Should we continue?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I think
what you said about the data. So some of the differences. I mean, Expedia is planned over 1 billion trips in the last 10 years for people. So that's a lot of data that's been collected. In fact, we share publicly, it's like 70 pegabytes of data, which don't ask me what a pegabyte is, but they tell me it's a lot of information, a lot of information, a lot of data about our customers. And so as we think about how we help and how at Expedia through Media Solutions, we really can bring our brands together and tap into that customer information that we have, regardless of where travelers are, whether they're on one of Expedia's many sites, which we have many, but also when they're off the sites on some other sites, other branded sites that we help support. And I think the power of the data and the power of the information we have is really what's helping drive kind of the future of where travel is going. And I think what you said earlier through the AI, we use a lot of AI as well today just on that data as an overlay to help with personalization and really helping recommend where people are, where they want to go, where they possibly should go. But I think over time, what you shared earlier, I think that's even only going to help. Yeah, only going to. Sorry about that.
Is that working?
Good. Only going to help us get even farther with this. But again, I think the key is the data, and that's one of the really exciting things. One of the reasons why people ask, well, why would you leave and go back? And I think it's because of that data, and I think that it's just the competitive advantage that we'll have moving forward, and really that understanding, because I think we'll talk more about it, but I think the future really is personalization and what we can do, how we can help the Moroccos of the world, help understand new origin destinations of where people want to come from and travel to, and we see that, and we see that early on, and we see differences in query changes over time.
Yeah, one of the let's just pass around the mic in case we're not having so. Thomas, you are the interim CEO of Jumeirah Group. I met your CEO last night, sitting right here, Catalina, who's going to start after the holidays. And in your other role, you are the COO. Jumeirah is obviously known as a luxury brand, and luxury was one of the sectors that came back the fastest, actually held up the most, and then came back the fastest. And even in the face of a potential downturn in different parts of the world, looks like it's going to hold. Is that what your data is showing?
Well, first and foremost, I didn't watch football last night. I need to apologize for my voice. And Adel and I discussed tomorrow morning when he's back from Qatar, he will probably talk the same. So just to warn you. I think, Rafat, you're absolutely correct. I think we had the resilience of the luxury market has been incredible. But I think we also need to highlight we haven't been sitting still. I think for a long time, the luxury hospitality market, we were sort of comfortable on our level, haven't really gone out and explored what can we do different. I think where we spent a lot of time and effort was how can we revisit touch points with our guests. For example, for me, luxury is choice. We have launched an e-butler during the pandemic, so you can order anything you want in our hotels from the convenience of your TV, and that will keep on going.
WhatsApp, I saw that
with your app, whatever. Yeah. But nowadays you have the choice. You can pick up the phone and communicate with a butler. You can ask for a butler to come and see you, and you convey those 2-3 things which you would like to do. And I think that's where we are evolving too, and we will continue to grow. We have made use of technology, different chat boxes with artificial intelligence in different languages, which we have been deploying, so that we can ensure for guests who were staying for a longer time in Dubai, for example, we had guests who stayed with us for 2, 3, 4 months. Suddenly they wanted to know where can they temporarily school their children. That's not a normal request you receive in a foreign language, and so on and so forth. And I think it allowed us to really think out of the box. We haven't given everything back of that because we believe now this will continue. We were also able to decentralize and to look into further diversification of the geo markets where we are doing business with. That allowed us for the future a wider base. And I think that's something we will continue and we will continue to drive and really reap in the success.
And how do you, and Jumeirah is known, I guess, as a very Dubai brand. I mean, that's what people have known it for. But the remit to you now and to your new CEO is to make it a globally known brand. And so how are you thinking about, obviously you are in many other countries as well now, but I was telling your CEO last night, please come back to New York. Like that's certainly one, I'm sure, the goal that eventually is there.
We can't divulge any locations at this point of time, but I think it's key that more than half of our portfolio is outside of Dubai. People really think that Jumeirah is and is only in Dubai, and that's not true. We have opened 3 hotels this year. This is in Bali, in Oman, and in Bahrain. So again, we continue to drive to open hotels outside of Dubai, and I think that's something we will continue to do. We will enter Saudi Arabia in Q1 next year with the opening in Mecca, and so on and so forth. So that's for us the key drive, to continue to put flags into strategic locations for Jumeirah, where we believe we can be successful, where we can be very successful with our brand, and where we can continue to deliver our service to our discerning guests.
Adel, you relaunched the Morocco brand earlier this year. You and I talked earlier in the pandemic, and you said, I'm in the middle of research. I'm trying to figure out all these things on how we're going to relaunch Morocco. And what you came up with is called Kingdom of Light. And so we have the video. Can we quickly play the video of just a short clip of the ad campaign, and then we're going to talk about of what your thinking was there.
Is there one?
So my first reaction when I saw that ad, when you launched it, and I actually commented on LinkedIn on your post as well when you posted it, is it too cutting edge? Because, and then what you said is, we're trying to change perceptions here. And one of the big challenges for this whole region is changing perceptions. There's the traditional view of countries and cities and people's perception of it, and you're trying to change perception. So talk about what you did and what risk you took with this one.
First, Ali, I just want to thank you for the invitation. I know you know how I love this brand, and also how you were great during the COVID on what you've done to the industry. You were like a kind of light for us. So thanks for this invitation. Coming back to this campaign, it's. I mean, we had some discussion before. The challenge for us was not a campaign, not relaunching Morocco after the COVID, was building a brand. It's all about branding, not campaign, not touristic campaign, not for travel, not. It just let's capture what the DNA of destination Morocco is. And this is challenging because we're in an industry when we're used to talk product, we used to describe it, we used to tell stories about the experience. Here the challenge was to tell the story behind the experience. I think our partners, be it OTAs, be it hoteliers, be it travel agents, they are great at telling story around the experience. They sell the experience, they distribute it, they sell it, they market it. I think from a destination perspective, the challenge for us was to bring some new layer and to give more deep perspective on what is the experience that you will live in Morocco. And this was challenging also in a way that very early in the process, we decided to go for a global brand. Last campaign that we ran in Morocco, we had one for France. Morocco is 13 million visitors, number one in Africa for the last 5 years. France is more than 4 million. Let's say, taking a country in Japan is less than 50,000. So not the same campaign. Let's do one for UK, one for France. It's a different story. The idea was, no, let's focus on who we are. Let's focus on our DNA. We should deliver it the same way to someone who has been 10 times in Marrakesh and to someone who's planning to visit Tangier or Dakhla first time ever, Morocco first time ever. But this didn't happen by chance. This was really collaboration process during the whole creative process. First with the public, and we are the public. I'm talking on behalf of the Moroccan Tourism Board. We aligned with the private sector. So the private sector they didn't discover nice ad after it was shot. It was the day before it was broadcasted, but they were part of the process from the brief, from the initial brief. They were in the whole process. They were part of it. It was also collaboration between creative talents. We looked for the best creative talent we can find. And the campaign is more than that, but this piece that you've seen, it's collaboration between BETC in Paris, one of the brightest talents we have, between Georgia Hudson, the director that lived in 30 years. She's living in Beverly Hills. She's done 3 of the global campaign of Nike with a complete different perspective what we can have from Europe. It happens that she knows Morocco before. She'd been 2 or 3 times to Morocco. She had a strong perspective. Beautiful destination, Jeremy. I don't know if he will be joining us. So we have collaboration between 2 creative agencies on this work. We also have collaboration inside Morocco. We have 5 artists that were portrayed in this ad. Right. We have painter, we have calligrapher, we have choreographer, we have fashion stylist, we have DJ. The music was a collaboration between a DJ, Moroccan DJ, and the European group. The lead dancer that you see, she's from Ghana. She's a star. She's a dancer from Ghana. The African dimension was also put there. So all this was our challenge to tell the story behind the experience. What you live when you come to Morocco, and everything was done in a creative, in a very arty way. It's still art and science. I'm talking about art part now, but it's still a lot of science. We conducted 15 months of research around 20 countries, more than 15,000 interviews that were done in the period before the brief, and we've got very solid insight that help us take these risks. Because I'll give you just very easy one that maybe talk to you. Morocco, we have 12 regions. We have fantastic destination: Marrakesh, Agadir, Tangier, Casablanca, etc. And when we talk about to our partners, local partners, the private sector, they were saying, look, people are flying from New York to Marrakesh, from Berlin to Casablanca, not from US to Morocco. So let's put brands Marrakesh, Casablanca. You're maybe not efficient putting the country brand first. What came out from the study we've done is that 65% of global travelers, they first decide the country, then the city. So it's still about a country brand and country ownership in terms of communication.
Rob, you on Expedia side, obviously the specific business that you run, I know works with Morocco. So I guess this is a case study on what you do currently with destinations, but also continue to want to do with destinations, which is help them. If they're focused on branding, you're helping them down the funnel a little bit.
Well, yeah, down the funnel and up the funnel. I think that's where a lot of people always kind of put us at very low funnel, conversion heavy, always able to put a head in the bed, button a seat, etc. Whereas we have a whole gamut of really able to support people upper funnel and helping with branding as well. And we worked very closely with Morocco on this, as well as one of the platforms where we provided that content to all of our travels to get them to understand what Morocco is all about. And it's interesting, a lot of the data went into that. We've done a lot of research recently too. We had a sustainability study done earlier, a survey done earlier this year, as well as accessibility. And the sustainability one is the interesting one because 90% of the people surveyed said that they were interested in more sustainable options when choosing a destination. But if you dig a little bit deeper in that, it gets to, they're not just looking for the large cities when they want to travel. They want to know a little bit more about cultural, say UNESCO sites, whatnot. 40+% were looking for that. And so that's where we really can help expose some of those secondary provinces and cities that he talks about. So it's not all about, now he said you got to get people interested in Morocco, absolutely right. But I think once you've got them into Morocco, then it's our job to say, okay, there's so much more than just going to one place, and how can we do that? And I think can really help that with the whole region of getting, okay, you're interested in one country in the region, but why don't we expose you to some other interesting areas? Because it'll be so, as we move forward in the Middle East, it'll be so much easier to get to multiple destinations. But we've got to actually let people know that's possible.
Speaking of sustainability, are you seeing, I mean, one of the big challenges in Wouter when he talked earlier or had a research, interest is there, sustainability, but we're not yet seeing in people's actual buying habits in terms of, but I'm guessing Expedia, Booking and others, Google, etc., they're all working on the informational layer to rank destinations, to rank hotels, to rank airlines, potentially on sustainability. Are you beginning to see any changes, actual intent in buying? They're making decisions based on XYZ?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, as we still haven't seen it deep change in people putting up the dollars for it. But part of that survey as well said 40+% of Europeans said that they would actually spend more on a sustainable option. So I guess in a survey we say whatever sounds good. I mean, at some point. But the reality is, I think you have to it keeps coming up more and more and more. And I think if you look at different generations, it's going to be imperative. Younger generations of travelers, they're only going to seek out these type of destinations that they believe are sustainable option, that they believe that are accessible options, that they see people in creative that look and feel like them, and they think it's really important. So I think it's going to take time, and it's not happening overnight, but I think we would be foolish to not think about it as we're thinking about how we're putting together our brand campaigns, how we're thinking about our destination, and us at Expedia, how are we actually sharing that content and pulling that content together and sharing it with the world of Expedia customers.
Thomas, in terms of sustainability for you as a group, if the consumer intent is there, action not yet there, what's your responsibility of staying ahead of this consumer behavior coming? And obviously, sustainability for a company like yours has a very real, tangible bottom line effect as well. So talk about that.
Well, similar to what Rob said, from Expedia, we clearly see a trend where our guests are inquiring actively, proactively, what are you offering, what are you doing for sustainability? I think what we do in the majority of our properties is really that we work with local sourcing. I think that's something the guests see, appreciate, and is tangible. In Dubai, you are amazed how many products you can get within a radius of 45, 50 kilometers. And if you have a Greek salad in restaurant XYZ, and the tomatoes and the cucumber are actually from Dubai, and it's labeled there from Dubai, I think it's a responsibility we have from a communication point to the guests as well, that they understand. We have heavily invested into water bottling plants. So if you're around our pools, and We have 3,900 sunbeds around the beach here, and with big pools. These are millions and millions of plastic bottles which we save. That's not something which we make a big press release about. We just believe that's the responsibility we have. We share this proactively with the guests. We have the water which we provide in the room comes from our own bottling plants, and it's still and fizzy, labeled with Jumeirah. We comply with the HACCP standards from a water point of view, and it's well appreciated. We do get a lot of comments from that. I think if we take it a bit further in the case of Dubai, also what we do with the marine, with our Turtle Foundation here, is a huge success where every day you see families are coming, want to learn what's happening with the turtle, how far do they go when we release them. The latest ones went to the Maldives, and 3 years ago all the way to Phuket from Dubai. I think these are very, very good experiences for our guests, for the whole family, where they can partake in this. And it's not just something we put in a website or on a brochure. They can really see and feel it, and I think that's what we continue to do.
Actually, one thing I should say is we are taking questions from the app. If you go to the app and put questions, I already see some audience questions that have come in as well. But if you're watching online or here in the room, you can go to the app. This will be true for all the sessions we have, and ask questions, and we're going to try and take some of these questions as well. I'm going to actually ask this question to you, Thomas, as well. One of the questions is, will Jumeirah add more non-luxury products like Zabeel House globally? Is it all about luxury, or actually half of our team is staying at Zabeel House and they're actually liking the experience? Actually, most of our team is staying there.
We actively pursue opportunities for us to grow the brand. If there is a Zabeel House opportunity in a location where we can provide accretive growth to an owner, good returns to an owner, that's certainly something we'll explore. But for us, the key focus is really to grow into key strategic locations with the Jumeirah brand.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask, a big picture question to all of you, one of the big trends that Skift is covering is what we call the great merging, which is if our lives, for a certain set of people, the people who have money to spend, if how we live, work, socialize, and travel have merged into each other. This is probably true for all of our lives after the pandemic. The traveler behavior is changing, and how the products that are then marketed to the travelers is changing as well. We did a story that Morocco is becoming a hotspot for digital nomads quite a bit. I'm guessing on the luxury side, are you seeing any trends of this merging of business and leisure travel and how people live and work? You obviously have a residential side as well. It's not just hotels and resorts.
Oh, absolutely. It's probably one of the biggest trends. The whole business and leisure, the leisure component is huge. In Dubai, we see a lot of that. We also see extended stay, and not just 7, 12 days, a month, 1.5 months. But we also have seen generational travel, where suddenly you have guests who are looking for a 4, 5, 6 bedroom villa or suite, where we really have products which we can.
We're showing some of your property
portfolio. So I think we will see more of that. We are very excited to work with developers as well as with our owning company on residential product. Again, we have seen good trend. We have delivered, we have exceeded market conditions for the sale of branded residences. Again, very well received by hotel guests of ours who are looking for residences. We have resident owners who want to buy a second home in another location. So that's something we continue to see, and we obviously drive it, our development team.
Adel, on this merging, are you seeing what are you seeing trends in Morocco? And you're working with a bunch of hotel companies that care for this merging are actually opening up in Morocco as well.
Yeah, we've been seeing this trends in mature destination like Marrakesh, but also for some destination like Agadir and Dakhla, with people that are in the surf segment or kite surf, and they were used to come to Morocco twice a year for 5 days. Now they spend 2-3 months. For some of them, they're working remotely from Agadir, the front of the waves. So it's we've seen this trend. Wanted to come back also to something on the industry. Remember, Ali, the first discussion we had during the COVID, there was some doubt about our industry, saying it's leisure. This is something not important. We have more important things in life, which is true. But what's happening now is that it's more than resilience. It's something that is strongly important in the human life. This is a strong need state. We need to not to travel, not to take a plane. We need to connect with others. We need to discover others, and this is good news for our industry or players because this is something solid. This is not just another thing that we can read. We can park when there is much bigger issues, and it's good news for the industry. And this is the signal that everyone is sending. Prices as high for like everyone we've seen in the presentation before. People are paying money for it. The challenge is at which level we keep developing the right way and also capturing value for the market. On the sustainability, one of interesting insight we get from the study we've conducted is travelers are telling us they are ready to pay a premium for it, which was not the case before. They care about it, but when it comes to paying a premium, they'll think about it. Now they're ready to pay a premium, which means from our side and from the side also of the private sector is a premium to put on the price. It's something that you can differentiate yourself with. So it's I think it's something that also let's say a deep trend that is coming in the next years, and especially for us. And we know we have challenge. I've seen the numbers. I need to look at them more deeply. But we are in a region, Mediterranean region plus the Middle East. This is the most cluttered with the best brand we can imagine. Differentiation is key. And it will be still the challenge for everyone here to differentiate itself and to make itself visible in the crowd.
We could write a whole book on differentiation.
Yes.
On this, we could do a whole conference just on differentiation because that's the biggest challenge I know all of you are facing. Rob, from an Expedia perspective, not only is this blended travel, the great merging happening, but you as a company are at the center of it because you built this amazing campus right before in Seattle. And one of the challenges you and every other company are facing is how to get people back in, or then you give up and say, well, people are not going to come back in 5 days a week. We have to adjust as well. So talk about not just obviously blended travel for you, what you're seeing, but also you as a company.
Yeah. Well, I think we are seeing some of the same stuff through our survey results. In fact, for 2023, which is great news here because I think we've talked a lot about it. We definitely think that business travel is coming back, and our survey results showed that 1 in 3 people plan on a business trip in 23. 76% of those plan on adding on a couple of days and making a leisure trip. So everything that was said here is very, very true. The other thing I would add there is we still see quite an interest in vacation rental, which as a choice also becomes one of those abilities.
And you own Vrbo,
we own Vrbo, so we've seen huge growth and interest in Vrbo, and obviously we all heard about that during the pandemic, but even now post-pandemic, because I think it plays well into, like you were talking about, people not just making a leisure trip, but choosing to extend and make work out of a new destination, and that kind of goes to the future of the hybrid work model, and will that continue? As Rafat shared, we did open a brand new headquarters in Seattle in November of 19th and then had to quickly close it, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful campus. And we're struggling like many to get people to come back to this campus. And there's a variety of reasons that, people don't want to, but I think we're all going to have to face that future of, what is the right mix and how do we continue to add flexibility and to make sure that we can retain great talent while at the same time provide these opportunities that we're having. And I don't know if there's any one answer. In fact, I don't think there's any one answer. I think on the one side, we've been able to retain great talent because of the flexibility. I think that I talk a lot about this to my team is I think the one thing that certainly from a younger, early in their career that they're missing out on is just the mentoring, the water cooler talk, that kind of stuff that just doesn't happen. And it's tough to build that online and when you're not really coming into the office. But we're working on it.
In this part of the world, culturally, it's a little different in terms of people coming back into office here. here, it looks, from what I understand, a lot more people as a percent coming back into office compared to, let's say, in the West. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think in Dubai in general, people, as you said, culturally have come back early to the office. I think it also has to do with the destination, because Dubai in general has opened up so early and so fast in such a safe environment. That means that people felt comfortable to go back to the office. I think that you still have, and applies to our office as well, people may work a day out of a property or half a day out of a property. We'll see that, but I think, you know, what Rob mentioned, that sort of water cooler chat, or you pop into someone's office and have a chat, I think that's important and should be not neglected and forgotten.
Okay. I was going to try and create some tension between all of you. You all agree. Should we bet on who's going to win tonight? I guess that we ended tonight on that.
No, thank you. We know who's going to win.
We know who's going to win?
No.
Okay. All right. We all agree. Thank you, everyone.